Hi everyone, welcome to this video where I intend to go over what we've been learning, which is join. So today I just want to do a little demo which would be on the join and basically explain better that concept. So we can just go over it whenever we are free. We will be using our usual database, which is illustration. So I'm going to switch over to illustration. So from here, just to give us an idea what tables and data we have in our database, I'm going to do the our usual select asterisk from I think that was users and select asterisk from that's from others. So with this, we are going to see and have a feel for what we have in our database. We have these two resource sets. So now I just want us to pick first name, last name, other name, and join that with maybe let's pick some. Let me hide this. So I'd like us to pick each person's that's the first name, last name, and the other amount, data other amount. We can just say user ID, other ID, other date, and other amounts, maybe including the status. So if we want to do that, basically we know we are not going to pull all those from just a table. We should be picking from one table and joining to the other table. So that's basically where join comes in. So how do we go about that? I can say select, like we already know, we need the first name. I can say first name, uh first name. I like to do this to give me intelligence. I like to say from, so I'm gonna say from that's users. So this way I have first name, comma, maybe we'll go down to the next and say last name. No, not that. So I'm gonna say last name, comma. Then what do I need from this other table? I've picked this from this table. I'm gonna move over to this other table and also pick some. So here I need the other ID and other dates. I'm gonna say other ID, other ID, comma. I need other dates, comma. Maybe I need status, and finally I should need total amounts. So these are the details I need from each of the tables, and to do that, I simply go down to my front clause, say from users, then join. I like doing this. Join others. So others is the other table we are picking from. On others, on you can say users dot user ID equals others dot other ID. So with this, I'm able to pull the data I need from each of the individual tables. So let me see what the result set is going to look like before we try to improve on that. Running this gives me first name, last name, other dates, other ID, status, and total amounts from the different tables. So basically what we did was to pick these columns from the other table, then pick some columns from the other table, which is users and others, and join them together. So look at the syntax for the join. We said from users join others. So that means we are picking some from users and joining some from others on the condition that user.user ID is equal to other.other ID. So we can try to improve on that, because looking at this, one doesn't immediately know which table we are picking which from. So in order to prove that, to improve that, I can say for the first name, I can say because we are picking from users, I can say users dot first name. That was users, not user dot first name. For the last name, I can say users dot last name. Then for other ID, I'm gonna say others dot order ID. Then for order dates, I'm gonna say orders dot order, and status we still have orders dot status. Total amount we have orders dot total amount. So what have I finally done? What I just did here is kind of trying to qualify each of the columns by its root table name. So looking at this, we are immediately aware that we are picking first name from users table, we are picking last name from users table, we are picking orders from order table, and we are also picking order dates from orders. So this is immediately clear to us where we are picking them from. We can further refine this by using aliases, which we already know. So to use aliases, I can alias the tables we are using. So in the case of users, I can say as you, and in the case of others, I can say as O. So what this does is to rename this user table into to become U and other table to become O. And once you do that, all this becomes invalid. So once you rename a table, what happens is you are not allowed to use the former name again. So that's why we are having those quickly brackets. So in this case, once we have O, it should be fine. We have O again, it should be fine. We have O again, it should be fine. We have O again. So for each of the others, I'm just replacing them with O, and for users, I'm replacing them with U. So this should serve for this. Now I believe our query should be happy, and coming down to this other one, we should also do exactly the same thing we are doing for the rest. So this becomes sound, and if we run it, we are going to get exactly the same result sets we got as before. But then again, we could do something more. Why am I not having all? I'm only having for delivered and shipped. That's not supposed to be all my result sets. All right, so before then, let me show you one thing you need to be aware of. Now, why am I using on users.user_id equals others dot? Okay, I used other ID. Sorry, that was a mistake, and that's why I'm not having a complete resource set. And that was just exactly what I'm about explaining. So here we are going to use user ID, and I'm going to show you why we are doing that. We are using user ID to qualify these stuffs for a reason. So let's run it, and we have our complete result set. So now to illustrate what I'm doing, you see, if we look at the relationship that exists between our users and our others, we'll find out that in users we have a user.user ID, and in others we have an other.other ID, and that's user ID in other table is referencing user ID in user table. So we established a one-to-many relationship when we were designing a database. We are simply following that relationship to create a join for ourselves. So in order to do that, I'm going to create a new query where I'll use what we already know how to do. So here, for us to see the relationship that exists between our two tables, I can just right click, move down to design query, and here our two tables appear because we are in the illustration database. So selecting the two and adding will bring up the two tables. We can close this, maybe expand if we wish, but I think the room is enough. So looking at it, we are immediately able to see that in order, okay, let me still draw this down a bit. We're immediately able to see that we have users. Maybe I can bring it this way so it looks clearer to us. I think it's better this way. So it's immediately evident to us that users has a user ID, which is a primary key, and it's also reflected in others as a foreign key. So in order to connect these two tables together, there are other cases where we can use other parameters to connect, but for now I think we should use a users dot user ID as the connecting column because it's common between them, and of course we know from our design users others dot other ID is simply referencing users dot user ID. So this is a primary key and this is a foreign key. So because there is a relationship for every other that is placed, there's a user who placed it. So we are simply saying wherever you find a matching user ID on user table and a matching user ID on other table, join them together. Whenever you find another user ID that is matching another user ID on other table, join them together. So that's the relationship we are using to build that, and it's what you should always look out for when you're designing your query. So this is simple enough. We can decide to improve it a little bit more by maybe doing what we already know how to do. We can simply say plus, which is concatenation, and we add uh, a white space to that so that we just have we should have a plus here too. Okay, so this way we've joined the names together. We are not having first name, last name again. But if we do that, let's see what our result set looks like. We are gonna see, oh, not like running all of them. I simply wanted to run this. So running this again, we have no name and the names here. So all the two names has been combined. The two names have been combined together to form one column. We know how to do that already, but it doesn't have a column name. So to improve on that, we simply say what? We can simply say as maybe name. So this way, uh, running this query, okay. If we say that we're supposed to include a comma for the next, so running this query gives us name and just a single table. So here we have name, order ID, order date, status, and status amount. So we can see further improve this because from what we know about our users, some users have three names, which is first name, last name, other name, and some of them don't have, like in the case where we have no. So I think we've used this formula before. We've used this function before, so we can call that function to play. We can say plus is null. Is null. That was the other name, right? I think so. I think it was other name. Plus is null. Let me just verify. So following this video, I think this is more structured. That was other name. So it's not other name. So what this function is doing, just as a reminder. So in this case, we are going to say o dot other name because that's where it's coming from, comma white space. So what have we done? What we did was just to say, uh, whatever there is other name is not other name. Then this, why is it not? I think something is missing. O dot other name. Yeah, it should be no, not O dot other name. Sorry, that's on the user table. So we should have user dot other name. So what this is doing is whenever we have other name, like in the case of Michael Oko, the other name is not. So it checks if other name user dot other name is not. If it's not, it replaces it with an empty string. So we don't want to see not there. Otherwise, it should produce the name. I think we are familiar with that. So running that, let's see what it outputs. If we run this, it's gonna give us something like this, but I think there's still a problem. Like in the case of Ebere, Emmanuel Shidebere Emeka, we're supposed to have a space in between them, and to achieve that space, we simply come to our plus and add another white space. So remember to add the final plus. I think this way we should have uh, our result sets that looks beautiful. So here we have for each of the persons that have three names, the three names appear. Those that have two names only have two names appearing, and we are able to join our table together. So to beautify it, you might think of maybe moving this to the next line and moving this. Some people do this, and that's still normal as long as you don't include the commas. So guys, that was just it. I just wanted to use this to explain the concept of join, and this is inner join for us. So I wanted to use this to explain the concept of inner join to us. You can try this example. You can also go to other databases we have and try to do some of this. I'm going to see you in the next video where I'll be explaining how to do the outer join, the left outer join, and the right outer join. So see you there. Thank you guys.